What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. We're going to talk about 4 specs that are getting massive changes coming to their talent trees in 10.0.7 and even before that. Resto Shaman is on the docket. We've also got Prot Paladin, and we're going to look at Resto Druid and Guardian Druid. These 4 are the ones that are receiving some major changes soon, so let's dive right into all of those. All right, guys, let's start out with Resto Shaman. We're going to talk about some of the changes that are coming through for Resto. Basically, most of the stuff that's coming for Shaman is class side changes, so I'll talk about that in a second. The Resto Shaman changes in particular have to do with chain heal stuff, so we're getting a new Tidebringer talent. For the next 8 seconds, your cast time of your next chain heal is reduced, and jump distance goes up. That's kind of cool. And then there's a buff to Flow of the Tides. This consumes a Riptide effect. It used to just consume a Riptide effect to buff your chain heal. Now it also makes chain heal bounce an additional time. So both of these options here, Ancestral Reach and Flow of the Tides, have an additional bounce component to them as well, which is super cool. Downpour got moved over here. Not a big deal. And then there's these 2 buffs here. There's buffs to Healing Tide Totem. So 30-second cooldown. I think this is bad. I think it needs to be a 1-minute cooldown at least. That would make this interesting. It would make Healing Tide Totem a 2-minute cooldown, which changes a lot of the timers for a lot of different fights in Raid. A 2.5-minute cooldown is just really desynced. I don't really like that. Tide Turner also seems kind of lame. The lowest health target gets hit by 30% more. Maybe it's okay, but I mean, Healing Tide Totem only ticks for 10 seconds. It only ends up ticking like 7 or 8 times. So the lowest health person gets hit 7 times for 30% more. I don't know if that's actually worth it. Mana Tide Totem. This is interesting. This one's kind of dumb, but this one's cool. Spirit Walker's Tidal Totem, legendary from Shadowlands. After using Mana Tide Totem, basically your chain heal will have its cast time reduced by 50%, and the mana cost goes down by 40%. So you could combine this with all the other chain heal bonuses, like the Unleash Life, one of these talents up here, and the new Tidebringer with High Tide, and you could make it so that you have this new cooldown window where you drop Mana Tide Totem and it acts as another cooldown for you, because you can just spam chain heal. Instead of chain heal costing 15,000 mana, it's only going to cost about 8 or 9,000. So that's really big, and it makes your Mana Tide Totem another cooldown for you to use, which I think is super neat and a really interesting idea, as if Resto Shaman needed any more cooldowns. But they also got rid of the lightning talent right here that made your chain lightning and lightning bolt do 35% more damage. They just made it baseline, which is amazing. You don't have to take that anymore. Also, water shield is baseline. So now you can do water shield and earth shield if you have the elemental orbit talent, and you don't have to spec into water shield. So big quality of life changes there for Resto Shaman. They also split up Healing Rain, the Overflowing Shores, and Acid Rains. You can pick and choose, or you can have both now. Could make Healing Rain a powerhouse of an ability. Like in Mythic Plus, for example, if you take Acid Rain and Overflowing Shores, your Healing Rain becomes a huge, huge deal. So that's kind of neat. I like that. That's all the changes really coming for Resto Shaman. I'm very interested in Spirit Walker's Tidal Totem. I think that'll be really interesting. And then the buff from Tidebringer is super cool as well. Okay. Onto the class side of things, a lot of talents got moved around. So now Nature Swiftness is the capstone. AG got moved up a bit. Mana Spring got moved over. You don't really have to take Mana Spring anymore because you get Water Shield baseline, so that's cool. Spirit Walker's Grace got moved down. Healing Stream Totem got moved up. Swirling Currents is a completely different thing now. It now buffs your Healing Stream Totem or Cloudburst Totem by 20%. That's super cool. We like that. But it... and it removed the other one. But the old school Swirling Currents, which used to buff the healing of your next Riptide or Healing Surge, that was good. But now this is actually better for our Healing Stream build, which, if you guys don't know, I've actually been doing plus 20 keys with the Healing Stream Totem build. So it does work right now in Mythic Plus, and it's actually just going to get stronger now with this new buff to Swirling Currents. So I'm excited for this. This is super cool. And yeah, I think it's actually going to be quite strong. So okay, sorry about that. So what else has changed? Well, the improved lightning bolt isn't there anymore. We just get that baseline as well. There used to be 2 points into improved lightning bolt. Don't need to put them in there anymore. So that's really good. The general structure of this tree, though, is annoying for Resto Shaman. I think for Ellie and Enhance, it's actually fine. It's just a straight up buff. For Resto Shaman, because they have to take so many extra things unlocked in order extra tools to help their team, it feels like it's just not as good anymore. So I always want to come down here and get the buffs for Gust of Wind, and then I have to get Totemic Recall for my Healing Stream Totem build. So I'm locked into going there. If I want to come down and get the buff to Totemic Focus now and get AG and get, you know, Totemic Surge and stuff, I'm having to give up Nature's Guardian and Windrush Totem and Earthgrab Totem, which is kind of annoying to me. So I don't know. Overall, I think for Resto Druid, the class tree is a bit of a bummer. There's buffs in certain areas, like Swelling Currents is a buff, I would say, but the rest of it, the structure of the tree now is very annoying, I think, for Resto Shaman. So whatever, take that with a grain of salt. I just think that I wish this was structured a little bit differently. But that's it for Resto Shaman. I think that it's going to be really good, and I think that the Chain Heal stuff in particular now is going to be absolutely massive. So you can see I've got my Tidebringer here, and if I get my... Let's spend some mana here. I'm going to get my High Tide buff ready to go. Don't mind me. A couple more should do it. Maybe one more. There we go. So High Tide's ready to go. Chain Heal's going to hit for 20% more. I'm going to press Unleash Life, which makes Chain Heal hit for 15% more and jump to an additional target. Unleash Life into a big Chain Heal here. Watch this. Boom! That Chain Heal just hit one. Let me look at this. Five people? 1, 2, 3, 6 people. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. It's about 200k with no crits. So I think that there's a really good Chain Heal build now that's going to be massive, and it's going to have a big quality of life with Tidebringer. So very excited about that. Okay, let's shift over to Prot Paladin. Let me talk about that for a sec. Okay, we're back on the Prot Paladin here. Let me just highlight a couple of new talents that have come through. Some changes to block for Prot Paladin. Let me type in block here. This talent down here, Faith in the Light, got massively buffed. So now casting Word of Glory grants you 30% block. You're already going to get 20% block from Holy Shield, 10% block whenever you cast Avenger's Shield, and another 10% block if you take Inner Light whenever you cast Shield of the Righteous. So let me just do a little test here for you. God, that's really loud. Why is that so loud? Effects are super loud, that's why. There we go. Okay. So let me show you this. I'm going to have my character screen open. Look at my block chance. It's 44% right now. Watch this. I'm going to use all my abilities to get block going. So here we go. Avenger's Shield, I get to 60% right away. Then we're going to cast Word of Glory. I'm at 90% block already with Word of Glory. Isn't that crazy? Shield of the Righteous into another Word of Glory. I'm at 90% again. You can basically maintain this. If you're playing correctly, you can maintain, I would say, between 70 to 90% more block all the time now with your heals and your Shield of the Righteouses that are going off. This is really good. So we're back down to 50, but back up to 60, and then I'll get a shield off here in a second. Okay, there we go. Word of Glory, back up to 84. Now, this cooldown, Bastion of Light, helps you maintain this very easily. So I press Bastion of Light, and I can do a heal. There we go. I got Shield of the Righteous going as well. I'm at 74%. There's Avenger's Shield, plus Shield of the Righteous, plus Word of Glory, up to 84% again. You can see, if you sort of fandangle it correctly, use your Holy Power correctly, you can always be between, I would say, 70 and 90%, which is super cool. And I think really introduces a new idea for Prot Paladin, which is that you could have a legitimate block build that allows you to just block all the damage that's coming in. And if you remember, Holy Shield makes you block spells. So every time you block, you will reduce the damage taken by 35%. Right now on my Paladin, you can make that a little bit better, but 35% damage reduction is insane. If I'm blocking 90% of the time and I'm blocking spells, that means in Mythic Plus, all the things that are hitting me are almost guaranteed to be blocked, which means I have 35% damage reduction basically at all times against all types of damage, except for dots, I guess. Dots would be the only thing that are going to ruin me. So I love this buff, and I think this combination of block from your Avenger's Shield, from Shield of the Righteous, and from Word of Glory is really cool and might be a very powerful way to play Prot Paladin in Mythic Plus when these buffs go live. So very excited about that. I think it's really cool. Let's move on to Druid. Let me talk about Druid for a second. Okay, let's talk about Resto Druid really quickly. A couple new talents have come in. There's a buff here it's called Tranquil Mind that buffs your Omen of Clarity. So Omen of Clarity gives you a 4% chance for Life Bloom to trigger a free regrowth. So not the biggest, but you can have, if you have double Life Bloom down here, you can have an increased chance to get, oh, those are bad guys, to have your proc, your free proc on regrowth. This buffs it to 5%. There's a regrowth proc there. And it also gives you a chance to have 2 clear casting stacks at the same time. You can see right there, I have 2 stacks of clear casting now. So there's less. If I'm busy doing something else and I don't have time to cast regrowth, then it's okay. It won't be wasted as often, okay, which is super cool. Now, the other thing you may notice is the other buff at the top of my screen, which says Wild Synthesis. This is a new Nourish buff. So there's Nourish is in the middle of the tree now, and there's 2 buffs to it. One's called Forest Flow. Nourish extends the duration of all your hots on the target by 4 seconds. Not all of them, but most of them. This is like specifically for a tank, I think. You want to keep this on a tank where you can basically get your hots rolling on everybody and then just keep the tank alive by pressing Nourish on him. Nourish is going to be a good heal because it benefits from Mastery. And then you're just going to keep extending all the hots on that ally, which allows you to keep dipping into the Mastery bonus for Nourish. So it's a really single target focused big tank buff in my mind. And then there's Wild Synthesis, which I have right now. Your regrowth decreases the cast of your next Nourish by 33% and increases the healing that it receives from your Mastery bonus again by 100% if you stack it up 3 times. So here it is right here. Cast time reduced to 0, and it receives 100% bonus for Mastery Harmony. Now I don't know what this means because Mastery Nourish gets 300% bonus for Mastery. I'm assuming this just buffs it to 400%. I'm assuming it doesn't double it to 600%. That doesn't really make sense. So I think that your Nourish will now get 400% bonus for Mastery. So Mastery, if you don't know, says your healing is increased by a certain amount for every heal over time effect you have on the enemy, or on the ally, sorry. So let's get a Life Bloom and a Rejuve and a Regrowth and a Wild Growth. And then I'm going to press my Nourish, which I don't even have on my bars right now. Whoops. Because I had this other cooldown. Big Nourish coming in here. That hit for 63k. That Nourish hit for 63k. Right there, you can see it. It did crit, so let's call it 31k Nourish. So again, that's a big heal. That's a big heal to be able to give to somebody who's dying. You just get a couple of hots on them, and if they're dying... Now, I didn't have F-Flow on the ground, so let's try that again with F-Flow. Go, let's get F-Flow down. Let's regrowth a couple times to... Here we go. Wild Growth. Get to my Life Bloom again. And then we're going to do a Nourish. There's a big Nourish. I don't even know what it was. What was it? I don't know. Let's try it again. My apologies. I didn't see it. Let's get this going. Okay, here we go. Let's do a Nourish. Nourish hit for 37k that time. So you can see, you can keep the buffs rolling, you can get everything going, and you can basically make your Nourishes very, very strong. And I think that that's an interesting idea, especially now that you're getting more clear casting potentially. That's a cool idea. And I think that, here's another one right here. Let's do one more. Boom, hits for 37k once again. So that's an interesting idea. Whether it's going to be good or not, I don't know. The Resto Druids are going to have to try it out, but it's an interesting idea. So those are the 2 big changes for Resto Druid that I wanted to talk about. There's a couple of other shuffling, like Power the Archdruid and Undergrowth are both now a choice node. And there's a new Deep Focus over here when your Moonfire, Rake, Rip, or Rejuvenation are active on a single target. Their effects are, so that's good for damage, I would say, for Resto Druid on bosses in particular. So I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. But that's that. Those are the buffs for Resto Druid. Let's switch over to Guardian Druid for the last thing I want to look at. All right, we're back on our Guardian Druid. This one I'm actually very excited about, guys. So they've done a couple of big buffs that are coming up. They're actually coming on the next reset. That's coming up soon, February 7th, I think. So we're not even have to wait. We don't have to wait till 10.0.7. It's just coming up very soon. So here's what's happening. Ursox is going up to 50% of his shield versus 30% on live. So it's getting 20% more shielding. Very good. Raise, of course, procs and Ursox shields as well. Talk about that in a minute. This is a big change here. Reinforced Fur is getting changed. So Iron Fur increases the armor by an additional 15%. Bark Skin reduces damage taken by an additional 10%. So Bark Skin is now a 30% DR. Iron Fur gets 15% more armor. And then there's a baseline change coming in that says Iron Fur gets 20% more armor, just flat. So now with Reinforced Fur, it's a 35% increased armor gain every time you press Iron Fur now. That is a huge deal. That is a big, big deal. And if you get it with Layered Main now, it has a 10% chance to apply 2 stacks, so you might be getting a whole bunch of extra buffs there. So, this is actually pretty insane. The buff from Reinforced Fur and the baseline buff coming in, give us more durability as a Guardian Druid, 35% more Iron Fur, and then the rest of the build is over here in the physical. So I'm not taking Convoke or Incarn. I'm not taking any of the Moonfire stuff. This is what the build kind of looks like on a dummy. You're basically, you know, thrashing, and then every once in a while you're going to get the Dream of Cenarius proc. So this is very cool. This is a huge regrowth proc, which I'm going to save right now because it lasts for a long time. You're basically pressing Iron Fur all the time as your spender, and if you get a Tooth and Claw proc on Raise, you're going to press it. In Mythic Plus, that's going to give you a lot more shielding, the Raise shielding. This is only single target, so we're not really going to notice it here, but you're going to get a lot. Here's my big regrowth coming in. I'm going to press it. You don't want to hold regrowth too long in case you get another proc. But basically, here's how the build works. You're going to be pressing Iron Fur all the time, which makes you more durable all the time. You're getting lots of armor, 35% more armor. Then you have all kinds of different shields coming in, okay? You've got shields from Ursox, right? From Thrash and from Raise. That's big, big shielding all the time, particularly in large groups of enemies. You're getting lots of shielding, okay? Then you're getting tons of healing. This is really where the bulk of the survivability is going to come in. Number one, you've got Dream of Cenarius heals with regrowth. They're huge. They're going to full heal you like every time. It's insane how strong these are, okay? Then on top of that, you've got your Frenzied Regens like normal, okay? And those have a reduced cooldown now because of our build. You've got Renewal, which is really good. It's always good. You've got Nature's Vigil, I'm sorry, which is you can just pop that buff all the time, and then you're healing for all your single target damage. So Mangle, and I think Raise counts as a single target hit as well. I'm not entirely sure on that, but it might. So that's another little additional bunch of healing you're getting. Again, here comes a regrowth heal. Boom, boom, boom. And then you're getting After the Wildfire, which you see is triggering up here. After I spend 10 more rage, going to go off right now. There's an After the Wildfire heal right there. So there is a ridiculous amount of healing in this build from Dream of Cenarius, After the Wildfire, Frenzied Regen. It's all there. Renewal. And you can basically cycle through different cooldowns to keep yourself alive and to stay consistently sturdy. You're just pressing Iron Fur like you normally do. And it increases your armor by so much more than it used to, 35% more. That's how Guardian Druid is kind of working now. So then when you're really in deep, deep trouble, you start using Frenzied Regen, and you can start using Survival Instinct. So it's just awesome. I think it's awesome. I feel like it really has a much smoother profile now in terms of how to live through any given scenario. Because of the Iron Fur changes, making you more durable all the time, and of course, the other ways, the shielding, that you get from Ursoc, combined with the healing effects you can get from like Frenzied Regen and Dream of Cenarius and After the Wildfire. So yeah, it's just a great little combo now. I think it works quite well. So I'm not going to sit here on the dummy all day. I just wanted to show you, I'm getting kind of low here, but watch this regrowth. Boom! Back up. I had a Frenzied Regen proc as well. I mean, it just works, guys. It just works very, very well. So things start to get a little bit dicey as the guy gets a little bit stronger, but once again, this is when you start leaning on your Frenzied Regens a little bit more, so I'm going to pop this one here. I got Berserk coming back soon. Try to keep Iron Fur up as much as possible. There's another regrowth. I actually just wasted that regrowth. That was really bad. So in higher Mythic Plus, you're going to have to be a little bit more stingy about your cooldowns, when you want to use them, how you want to survive, all that jazz, okay? But I really enjoy this new build. I think it works very well. I think the AoE damage from Raise is going to be strong. With the 50% shielding from Ursox, that's going to be massive now. I think it's going to be really, really good. And then all this other healing coming in from Dream of Cenarius with Protector of the Pack. A little bit of healing from Nature's Vigil. You're getting the free procs from Well-Honed Instincts. You're getting After the Wildfire healing. You have your regular Frenzied Regen healing. There's just so much there. Yeah, I think it's really strong. So I think Guardian Druid, the physical build, might actually be a contender now in Mythic Plus. And we'll just have to see how it goes. So yeah, that's it, guys. Those are the 4 specs I wanted to look at: Resto, Guardian, Shaman, and Prot Paladin. I'm really excited about it, the changes that are coming in. I'm excited that Blizzard is just continuing to make changes to the game in the middle of the game. That is the most exciting thing they could be doing. Iterating on things that need to be changed, buffing classes that need to help. It's really good. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.